right. Our next speaker is Jim Fryhoff.
Bob, I apologize up front. I move around a lot. I'll do my best to stay within your field of view. I don't do well with podiums. Those who don't know me, I'm Jim Fryhoff. I'm running for Ventura County Sheriff. I'm a 31-year veteran of the Ventura Sheriff's Office. I started as a deputy when I was 19 years old. I grew up in Pasadena. I was a cadet down there for a year and a half, so I've actually been in law enforcement for 33 years, so my entire adult life in law enforcement. Like all good deputies, I started in the jail, spent 3.5 years in there, went to patrol in the Ojai Valley, was a patrol officer, field training officer, a bike patrol officer. I was named Officer of the Year early in 1996. Later that year, I was involved in an officer bell shooting where my partner was murdered on a domestic violence call. A couple years later, I got promoted, went to the Honor Farm. For those that have been in the county a long time, our jail that exists in Ojai was where I worked for a couple of years and ran our drug and substance abuse programs, supervising the instructors for that, along with our inmates. I ran the investigative unit in the jail up there as well. Went to Camarillo, worked patrol. I worked special enforcement, which is a plainclothes assignment, a non-uniform position in unmarked cars, chasing around drug dealers and gang members. Then got assigned as a detective, worked general assignment detective. Domestic violence, burglary, forgery, fraud, identity theft. I did that for 4.5 years. Was named Officer of the Year again as an investigator. Got promoted to sergeant. Went back to the jail, ran the investigative unit as a sergeant in our main jail. Came out to Thousand Oaks for my first assignment out in Thousand Oaks as a crime prevention sergeant. This is where I really got to start building programs with our community here in Ventura County. The first program I created was called Threat Assessment. On the heels of all the school shootings we were seeing happen nationally, we needed to come up with a different strategy for how to deal with it or to prevent it from happening. So one of the things I learned in the trainings I'd gone to was that in 80% of all school shootings, somebody knew about the attack before it happened. So we wanted to make sure that we had people knew who to call at each of our schools, so having a threat assessment team, so parents, teachers, students knew who to tell when a kid made a threat or said something that caused them concern, because all the threats don't always come across as, hey, I'm coming tomorrow to shoot up the place. It could be as simple as telling their friends, don't come to school tomorrow. We want to know about that information so we can prevent a school shooting. Then I also developed a active shooter training. Have you all heard of Run, Hide, Fight? I didn't create that. I created the precursor to that called What If. How law enforcement lives their life, right? When I stop cars, what if the driver gets out and starts shooting at me? What if the passenger takes off running? What if they try and run me down? If I'm not thinking about those things ahead of time, I'm gonna end up dead. So you have to really start thinking about those things. And so for our community, I wanted you to start thinking about your world in a little different way. Where's the exit? Where can I hide? Is there multiple exits? Can I break a window? Can I arm myself with a chair, right? Think about things a little bit differently. Then I was the sheriff's adjutant for both Sheriff Brooks and then Sheriff Dean. Got promoted to captain, came back out to Thousand Oaks as the assistant chief of police, where I was here for 5 years. Developed a couple programs for our youth. One called Stand Proud for our middle school kids. They were doing it in 5th grade because we were seeing a lot of bullying that was happening in our middle schools. So we partnered with the school counselor and the school district, and the police foundation paid for it the first year, and then we partnered the next 2 years, and the school district has continued to fund it since then. Created Safe Passage with Commander Tim Hagel, which was dealing with our most at-risk gang communities here, giving them access and giving them hope so they don't join gangs. We got money that was donated. We bought Chromebooks. We paid for Wi-Fi for their housing areas. Partnered with Cal Lutheran University, who allowed their students to come tutor these kids, and they got discounts on their tuition for being tutors. So these kids could see they had other options other than joining a gang. Then I created the very first vulnerable population position because homelessness is on the rise. California is home to 50% of the nation's homeless. That's a lot, right? A lot of people are here that are homeless. And for every 100 people you show me that are homeless, there's 100 solutions to their homelessness, right? There's 100 reasons they became homeless and 100 ways to get them out of it. There's no panacea for this. So what we do know is we need to hold them accountable and also offer resources. So the resources the county has to offer, we're not coming into our homeless encampments because they're fearful. So by having an officer assigned to it, they got to have these resources come out and escort them into the homeless encampments, get them connected with family, get them connected with services so they could get off the street, those that wanted to. There are some that don't. But those that wanted to, we were going to give them that option. Then, also holding them accountable. They're drinking in public, they're going to go to jail. Using drugs, they're going to go to jail. Setting illegal fires, they're going to go to jail. They know that they're going to be held accountable for the things that we as a society expect them to follow the rules on. I went to Ojai as the chief of police. I got selected to be the chief in Ojai. Now, Ojai doesn't have extra staffing. It's a very small station. There's only 5 patrol officers out there. But we still have all the same critical issues that occur in Ojai that happen in other cities. So I told officers, in addition to your normal duties, You're going to be my vulnerable population officers. You're going to work with the homeless and get these groups to come in and deal with our homeless problem. You're going to be my new gang officer. You're going to be my new substance abuse officer. You're going to help our detectives. So that it helped to develop those officers so when they go to other larger stations, they'll already have that experience too, and we still have that need in our smaller cities. Then I was promoted, reassigned out to Thousand Oaks as the chief of police. I was out here for 1.5 years during the beginning of the pandemic, and then also during the social unrest. During the pandemic, I told our officers, I said, I don't want you to get sick. I don't want you to get my community sick. I don't want you to get your family sick. This is a time that we need to be a resource for our community and look out for them. Everybody's feeling a tremendous amount of stress because nobody knows what this is all about. And it was very effective. I said, we need extra patrol of our businesses that are closed. Everybody was at home, so I didn't have to worry about residential burglaries because everybody was at home. Commercial burglaries is where we had to spend our time and effort because everybody was closed. And then also driving through grocery store parking lots. People are stressed out. They're fighting over toilet paper, right? So we want to make sure they see us driving through, have your windows down, wave at people, establish calm, so we get through this together. And then when the social unrest started, I reached out to all the event organizers. I said, my expectation is we're going to have peaceful protests here in Thousand Oaks. The moment I see fires or looting, we're going to descend upon you. You stay off the sidewalk, you stay on the side of the road, cars and people don't mix, I go, we'll get along just fine. And that's what it was. We had very peaceful protests out here, and because I reached out to the event organizers ahead of time and let them know what the expectation was. I was then transferred to the jail, coincidentally, when I was made my announcement that I was going to be running for sheriff, or was made known as running for sheriff. So I currently oversee the entire, the operations commander for all of our detention services, which is the largest division in the sheriff's office. But it's a great opportunity. When I made the decision to run, if there was an area I felt I was weak in, it was in our custody environment because I hadn't worked the jails in 14 years. So the one weakness I had, the sheriff just shored up because it's time to fix what's broken in our organization. It's time to reconnect our community with our law enforcement agency. I've been endorsed by our Deputy Sheriff's Association, our Corrections Officer Association, and the professional staff under their Service Employees International Union as well. So all 3 unions that are represented of the sheriff's employees have endorsed me and not the incumbent. This is the first time in history that the DSA, the Deputy Sheriff's Association, did not endorse the incumbent. We are craving change. We need it now or we're going to lose a lot of great officers. I'm Jim Fryhoff. I'm running for sheriff.